Good
evening to all the people joining us for the People's Go Way of Thought talk show program. This week, we'll be talking about that violence inside the prison being used as a political tool, because the military junta has been committing violence, and they have used the violence as a political weapon for those who particularly against the political prisoners or prisoner conscience. I'm sure you all will recall that in the last year, on the 23rd of July, Kojimi, Kosi Chipuziato, and two other political prisoners were executed inside the insane prison by the military. Very recently, we also have heard stories about the political prisoners has been killed during that transfer from one prison to another, and they were also killed during the interrogation. And we also have seen forced disappearance as well. So after the coup, the situation inside the prison has worsened, as well as, and that according to the AAPP statistics and data, we have there are altogether over 150 political prisoners who were killed by the violence inside the prison or the torture and the interrogation by the military junta. So this week we'll be talking about that human rights violation inside the prison, as well as on that violence inside the prison that are targeted towards the political prisoner as a violence inside the prison used as a political weapon by the military junta. For today's discussion, we have invited three speakers: a former political prisoner, Sia Utonji, and Sohan Nway, a writer, as well as a former political prisoner, and Thuzar, who is a senior woman journalist and a former political prisoner, as well as a media activist. And my name is Kaung, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Firstly, I would like to invite Sia Utonji to introduce himself. Sia, the floor is yours. Thank you. Good evening to all of you. My name is Tonji, and I am a former political prisoner, as well as political activist from the 1988 generation. At the same time, back in the days, in 1988, that we had all Burma Students Union, as well as, and there was also the committee for the reform of the Students Union. I serve as a general secretary, and that I'm also the member of the board member of the AAPP as well. That after the coup, that I'm also have been working with the Interfaith Network, as well as on the Spring Revolution, that as well as that Interfaith Committee as well. I'm also currently working hard for the eradication of the military dictatorship and all forms of dictatorship, and therefore the establishment of genuine federal democracy. I'm also working together with all our comrades with whom we share the same common vision and common goal of the Federal Democratic Union. That's all from me. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Sia. Next, I would like to invite our next speaker, Siama Sohan Nway, who is also a former political prisoner. Siama, the floor is yours. Good evening to all of you. My name is Sohan Nway, joining the People's Go. This is the second time People Go's have invited me to participate in today's talk show. So thank you for inviting me once again. I'm also honored to be part of the People's Go. So that as you all know, I am an LGBTQ community. I'm a transgender woman, and that in the current political conflict, I'm contributing to the conflict as along with the people of Myanmar and the other fellow comrades. And I'm also contributed the revolution as much as I can in a small role that I can. I'm also contributing to the revolution. As to the others, I write. I'm a writer. I also do carry out my normal work as well. So it's a pleasure to be here once again on this platform to engage with the people. Thank you. Thank you, Siama, for the introduction. So last but not the least, I would like to invite our last speaker, that a media activist, as well as the senior female journalist. I would like to invite Siama Thuzar to introduce herself. Siama, please introduce yourself. Siama, you're muted. Sorry about that. I thought I had my mic on. Good evening. I'm participating in the today's talk show for the very first time. My name is Thuzar, and during the revolution, I have been covering news as a freelance journalist, and I was arrested. I was arrested, and that only on the 4th of January, 2023, that I was released from the prison. As we'll hear, that I'm also working as a reporter, and I'm also working for the freedom of the media, as well as on the rights of the journalists. As a former political prisoner, as well as journalist, I will contribute to this today's talk show and the discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you. So all of the speakers have introduced themselves. So I would like to start the first round of discussion. As for the first round, I would like to start with questions for So Nway, because you yourself have been arrested and also has spent time in prison. So can you share with us about how is the situation of human rights violations inside the prison, as well as the violence and the torture in the interrogation? So that when it comes to, I have already talked quite at length about my experience in the interrogation center, at the media, or at the panel discussion. I have shared that a lot of times as well. To tell the story today, I think I have to retell what happened to me, because the revolution has taken longer. The revolution has taken more than 2 years now. So we have seen the terrorist military, or the SAC, has been ramping up their escalation of their violence and human rights violations. So we have seen the horrible accounts of the violence that they have committed, and they have escalated it. And here I would like to share some of my first-hand personal accounts. So what I have faced is that it might be that compared to others, it might be more, it could be less, or it could be more than what other people have suffered. Because if you look at people across Myanmar, the military has been violating human rights and committing violence against people out the world. They will arrest people, they will torture people, they will kill the people, they will destroy the people physically and psychologically. And that's something all the people of Myanmar are aware about it. And especially for the brothers and sisters who are inside the prison, then for those who have been the political prisoner, who have been released, all of us are the former political prisoners. So we all know the experience of what's in life. If once you have spent time inside the prison, once you're incarcerated by the military, you know how the situation is. So I think I would like to share my experience based on my identity. I am an LGBTQ member. I'm also, in other words, I'm a transgender woman. So they will call me like a very aggressive word, saying that I'm being a transgender woman. And when I was arrested and detained by the military, and I have faced human rights violation as well as on the violence. And when they ask us what kind of violence have I encountered, the way they treat us, the way they treat especially the members of the LGBTQ community is horrible. If I were to go into details, if I were to say what kind of violence have I encountered, even before I was sent to prison, when I spent time in the interrogation center, when we were arrested, we were taken to the interrogation center, that we were not arrested like a normal charges or normal criminal cases. We are not taken to the prison to be remanded, and then will be charged, and then the case will be processed, and then we'll send us to prison. No, we didn't have that kind of a process. When I was arrested, it was also during the worst wave of the COVID-19. If I recall exactly, it was in September of 2021, and on the 6th of September, November, I was arrested. And before I was sent to prison, first they took me to the interrogation center in Mandalay. We call it the Palace Interrogation Center because that's inside the military regiment, which is based inside the Mandalay Palace. But they want to break my identity. They find my identity as as negative. So what they will cause more violence and more attacks against me because I'm a transgender woman. And as I often said, physically, psychologically, and sexually, that's how they assault me. That's how they cause violence against us. It's not just me, not just for the LGBT community, but also other people also face this kind of torture that are not only psychological but also physical and sexual as well. Like I said before, my case could be, more than others, more stronger, more violent others. They could also be less violent because they have been committed. If we can recall, like a lot of people have been that they are victims of violence as well as on the human rights violation. So based on my identity as a transgender, they will say that, oh, you're a gay, or that, and they will use a very prejudiced word like, what kind of what you as a transgender, why are you getting involved in this revolution? That they are verbally abusive. They were also that sexually also as well. And I don't feel anything about it because I have been telling the story as well. Like they would, they would, get rid of my clothes, and they would also look at my genitals and like that. I am a transgender woman. I consider myself a woman, and that as a man, changing my identity. You want to be a girl, so you want to have you be operative? You have a sex change? So they would laugh at me. They would look at me, and they would be laughing at me, and they would be, that looking at, because physically everybody is the same. They beat, and physically beat. I was beaten with the wires. I was beaten with the sticks. I have been beaten until I bleed. They would be bleeding my face. They were slapping and hitting me. It's not something special because it's not just something I had to suffer, because all the people who integrated will be beaten, physically tortured. So I don't feel that because I'm a transgender woman, they beat me worse. No, they beat me just like they did everyone else who had to go through the interrogation center as well. And after I was released as well, that I had to, I have to, I have to actually, I have to rehabilitate myself physically, psychologically, and that I don't feel that it happened to me as a person, but this is what I've encountered. It is important to see how I can survive this, how I can live through this, and that's more important for me to share, and that's what I would like to share today, Cesar. I'm sure there are people who have gone through a horrible experience, much worse than I did, and there are also people who did not suffer as much as I did in the interrogation center or in the prison. So here I would like to add more about the psychological part, because until today, because my physical body, that they have beaten so much that it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years that 2 years, because we were arrested in the early days of the revolution. So we're arrested and near the end of 2021. So it's been 2 years of revolution. One thing is that whenever, like now, like the monsoon season, the one is the wet one is going to rain, and you feel the muscle pain. If that you're feeling aches and muscle aches and the pains from your inside your body, and that's something that it's going to rain. And there is when the weather gets a little colder, you're physically you're like you start to feel the aches from your muscle, from your joints, and that we were beaten. We never get a chance to get treatment. We have to barely survive the beating and the physical violence. And you don't even get some sort of like analgesic. You don't get a single paracetamol, not a single aspirin, not a single balm or the ointment. So that you have to blindly suffer through the pain and the ache. So that after I was released from prison, and after I was released, and for a few months, and I had to really get a treatment because I was feeling really not well with it as well. And I had some documentary, and in my interview, if you can also check out my my interviews and documentaries and how I was when I was released, and then I sort of reflect myself when I was released, and that I was like that, and this is how I have been did as well until now, that I'm still like I cannot hear properly. Sometimes the audio that I hear in my voice. There's a song is coming like changing, like coming from close and far. So I have to really like build my own self-esteem. If I were to retell the story about the violence and the human violation, they have lost humanity. They are cruel to the extent that they are not like human beings. They don't treat us like human beings, because a person, like a person who is, well and in a good health, and they could kill the person. They could put them in the at the deck at the brink of death by just simply by beating them. And many people have died in the interrogation center. I also know there are also other people who are inside the prison. There are also those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, who were killed by the military in the prison interrogation center. So it is important to share our story, how horrible that may be. That today I would like to share that how bad it has been. I also like to tell them so that you won't forget about it, because we have been suffering as well, and that we also need to think about what happened to us as a way to motivate ourselves, that how we need to do about, or how we need to continue this fighting. We need to remain committed to the cause, because this is the only way we can overcome these hostilities.
မျိုးအခြေအနေကဒါကိုယ်တိုင်ကြုံပြီးလွတ်မြောက်လို့ဒါပြန်ပြီးတော့ဒါပြောနိုင်တဲ့အနေအထားမျိုးဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်
So this is like the situation that you have escaped, and then you have relief from this, and then have been able to talk about it. But then how you are facing people in the detentions are doing, and there are many things that you have experienced differently, and the SAC's torture and their brutality has been very absurd. And let me invite Alale Thuzar again. And we have heard a lot that people in the prisons has been killed, and a lot of political prisoners disappear. So can you please talk about it? Yes. With regards to this issue, if I have to say, when I was in the prison, when a reporter is on the ground, what kind of things they are facing. When I arrived inside prison, when I was detained there, detainees are being handled like slaves. They are always on the upper hand, and then it is even worse with men. And then like women are not beaten like men or not tortured like men, but then they would like to it is not that worse like beating like men. For example, men are being beaten since they enter the prison just in front of me. So they are beaten, they are slapped. I do not even want to see it, but then even if in front of the people, if it is in public, they are very much used to with that. They are used to with beating people, torturing people. If it is in the back, and if they are beaten, it's not something that is a kind of like strange, because as a reporter, I have seen this with my own eyes, so this is what I was able to say. So I was in the so what I like. So from the interrogation, like they call it back from the prison. So they take photo, they took them back. So a few women were taken back like that. When I was in 15 months of insane prison, I have experienced this as well. So when they came back, like insane interrogation or outside interrogation, I was not able to ask. So there are women like they do not kind of like respond anything. It seems like they have received a lot of trauma. They have been pressured. They have been tortured. They could not talk about it anymore. So when you are in the prison and you can be taken out of the interrogation. So this is the thing, they are easy to do, and then they could do it very easily. When I got released right now, what I have experienced Daewoo prison, 8 people died, maybe more than that. So in the prison, like the information is cut out and then the news came out of it. So the news are being censored inside and this news came out. If the news are being like be able to taken, and then how much of this will come out. And then right now families members cannot meet with the prisoners. The reason is that they give COVID as a reason. And then I question, like over 3 years now, like political prisoners cannot be seen by family members. So until now, it has not been implemented. The political prisoners are being pressured in the way they want. And then inside prison, a lot of people are being disappear. So we do not know the information to what extent inside informations are even worse. So in Daewoo prison issues, so we have received the news like at the change of prison, they kind of like shoot and kill the prisoners. So since the beginning, if they are doing something, to they do it systematically. But then at the change of prison, can they have authority to shoot people like this when they are moving this? To what extent they do the change or transfer of prison? So they are just giving the information they want to do. It's very funny because in reality, people got killed, and then to what extent they are going to hide this. There are people being in hiding and disappear. Like we do not know anything what is going on. The information is being censored, and then I want to know. So I am very much worried about this. And then I, so people of here, then you know about it. So it is very much important that people inside are being released and they need to talk about what is happening to them. This is my perspectives, and thank you very much. Yes, and so you have experienced it yourself. You are a reporter yourself. And then as a reporter, like people are seeing this way in this situation. So torturing, beating up publicly, you have seen that in your own eyes. And then if it is in hiding, in their interrogation, to what extent they are going to practice this torture, then a lot of things to think about. And many people disappear. To what extent? This is a question that we need to ask also. And thank you very much. And right now I'll go to Xiaoji. And in the 88, what is the situation of the prison at that time? What is the suppression of the political prisoners? Is it like this? And the comparison that you had at that time and now, can you please talk about it? Mingalaba everyone. And from Pitupanay. And so when I am being asked about this Titupanay, I would like to say thank you first. And before I ask about this, today is ko Jimmy ko siya to pula myo ang ne ko ang tuya. 4 of them were executed, and then this is like 1-year anniversary of it. And therefore, first, in the first independence, second independence, battle, and then federal and democracy fightings, we have the martyrs that we have sacrificed. And until now, in different prisons, people who continue to fight our heroes. So as a respect to them, from here, I would like to give my respect from here by bowing to them. So the question was very good as well. In 88, the situation then, if we have to compare, it's the same thing. So the military dictatorship was the same. And then they use very bad and then very suppressive means, and killing of the political prisoners, all are the same things. But what happened right now in over 50 prisons and detention centers upon the political prisoners, the military dictators and the SAC, they are suppressing inside the prison, and then in the detention center, people are being killed, and then all the remains are being made unknown. And then not only this, they kind of like torture in the interrogation center, and they also give the transfer, and then so they give other reasons, like people are trying to run away, and they also give reason that they kill. So they are sending people. According to our experience, I have been to many different prisons, and the transfer of the prison, and so two people are tied together. They with their leg change. How can they run away? They are not Superman. And then so they are just within our hands, and then you are just out like what is in our hands, and then if you go against us, you are just criminals, you are our enemy, and therefore we will have the mindset like we keep on our enemy, and you will be killed right away. And therefore the perpetrators, the culprits are these people. The political prisoners are being killed by them. People change, but the system is the same. And then these people are the same, and they are still doing this. And then it is undeniable. It's the same thing. Like 88, also they are arresting people, and right now they have like 505A, and in our 10A is 10B is like in house arrest and this kind of things. And then so before we got arrested, they sent us to interrogation. So these are illegal actions. I was in the detention for 7 months. You can think about it. So Siama Sohanu, who has said earlier, in the interrogation as well. So if it is like different religious believer, you have heard about, you might be heard, like there are LGBT people, it is not just only right now. There are women. So they are not only violating human rights, LGBT, women, other diverse people are like, what? You are just a kala, you are a woman, you are an LGBT. So they just like put like, so you wanted to our heads are being covered, and then who is beating you, you never know. And then so it's like 2 hours, like one duty. So it's kind of like you are being asked a lot of questions. So in the prison there is also interrogation in. So there is also YGI interrogation. So at the time of General Quino, like the military intelligence were very, very notorious, and they had been doing this like military intelligence 5, 6 NIB. These are very much notorious, and then they also write down the comments, and then when you are in the prison, even at the entrance. So and then so and when we were university students, and so we are the Generation Z of that time, and then only 88 Generation Z, and then Generation Z now are not the same. Generation Z here right now, I really respect them. I really respect their technology, their braveness. We really do respect them. And then so it is even worse than animals. So there are people like suffering like different. So there is no electricity. So and then they place us there intentionally, and they are being cruel to the political prisoner that much. If they release politics, people will be feeling fear of that, and then will be afraid of this at all. So we have experienced like 4 times of coup, and then there is no country with. So after 88, after that coup, they just want to have the military ruling, and then they want the civil war to be prolonged, and then they are trying. So they are just doing like they are lying, and third is opportunity. So starting from 1962, like they are treating people, and they are not actually having faith on prison, and so they do not love any ethnicity like Burmese people, and they do not respect Buddhism as well. They are fighting for Burmese people, they are fighting for Burmese Buddhism. This is what so like beating, tortures are even worse than this. So the military intelligence are not qualified, and then at the end what happened is that so they are doing that. So how are we going to do this, and then how are we, so as much as we could we answer this, but what happened is that what we experienced was, if I am not wrong, in there was a struggle in the prison, and so they are kind of circle and insane prison, and they shoot people, and then hundreds of them die, and then they interrogate political prisoners at that time when being so it is so there are people who is going and it's so we are also kind of like praying that don't give problems to us, because we are here suffering from everything. But the thing is that so when we have come through this, we understood this, how they have been treating the political prisoners. And then before 1990 election, 1989, April 20th, I got arrested at the time, and then so there was a book, a green book, and then our group, we are like the right wing and then the left wing groups. And when we were put into prison, we were changed at the court martial, and then we were imprisoned by the court martial. So they have no authority. They have just come in with uh, they, the envelope, and they just read it, and then we were put into prison. There were no interrogation. There were no investigation. So there is no illegal, no. So we are not guilty, but then they just opened that envelope, and we were imprisoned that way. And then after the election, we were transferred to another prison. Like 2 people were let off, and then we were sent to the prison inside the palace. Right now is that interrogation center. So out of 64 people who were transferred, we were in the prison. 64 people only has 2 toilets, and then so 64 people only receives 2 toilet, and only 1 is in good condition. So we were moved to Myanmar prison. We were transferred with full security. 2 people were handcuffed. So so we were singing, and encouraging and were moved transferred to Myanmar prison. And so when we arrived in Myanmar prison, they never released us from the lead cuffs, chains, and we were beaten as well. Even we kind of like urinate or like, so in Myanmar prison, Myanmar prison where I was like almost like a decade. I was there for a decade, 7 years. So we did not have anything, like we were not able to shower. We were not even able to do manicure, pedicure. We were not able to cut hair. And so all the rights of the prisoners were not given. We were pressured and we were into the interrogation, and therefore we have been given a number of charges and put into prison. That's why in Myanmar prison, when we were charged with other charges, so we were not given anything, and so there were fetters, and so the prison doctors, so they have kind of like react to a lot of things, like even pigs are dead, we have to write a lot of letters, but then the political prisoners are dead, then we do not have to write anything. So right now, so with regards to that, in the history of prisons, human rights violations are being suffered by us, and then political prisoners in Ningxia kind of like sacrifice their lives, and medical assistance, no emergency support, only when people are about to die. So when they are dead, they only so people were killed in different ways. Their legs are being cut off. So and so dogs will kind of like take, so and then in Ayawadi Mondai's
So these are the most of the people who were arrested in ARD. The military ran a very carefully operated high-tech operation using military airships, helicopters, and the moment they killed, and then these people were, a lot of them lost their lives in Minjin prison due to the extreme weather conditions as well as horrible conditions. They didn't receive any medical care, and they were always in lockups or factories all the time, so that they were abused, physically abused, and that the torture, the abuse against a political prisoner is the same. It's always have been the military who has committed such atrocities, but we haven't seen, however, despite their atrociously killing or disrespecting the remains of the political prisoner, we have never seen the military did like in the Daewoo prison before, where they said that people are people are trying to run away while they are being transferred, and they kill them. We are seeing that even more atrocious killings and in the torture in current day, because they are the same military, they always conduct the same practices, but now it's worse, as if they have freedom to kill as much as they want in the duration as always inside the prison. So thank you, Sia, for sharing your experience and the fact that you are able to tell the horrible stories, the horror stories that even the factors will be removed by force. They would just simply, break the legs apart of the dead prisoners to get the factors out of them. It's how horrible the stories have been. But we know that with the military junta still in power, they will use abuse, and they will use interrogation, they will use torture, they will use a different torture, different ways, but they are atrocities, and atrocities and the violence they targeted towards the political prisoners will remain as well. And that today is actually, in fact, is like you have just reminded us when you give homage when you give respect to Go Jimmy, Go Pyo Siato, Go Aung, and that today is their anniversary of the day when the military executed them last year. They are indeed martyrs of the Spring Revolution, that although the military may have been able to kill them physically, but their spirits and their commitment will live on. So now I'd like to give the floor once again to Siama So Nway. So during this Spring Revolution, the military has detained and arrested a lot of youth activists as well as the political prisoners, and that they also have executed them as well. That after the coup, what do you think about the capital punishment the military has doled out to the activists? Can you also share? And I was listening to Sia Utonji and then about the experience in the 1988, as well as how horrible the prisoner's situation in the prison is. I was also feeling indignant as well as on his behalf as well. So if I'm also feeling kind of emotional, so if I'm making, and if I didn't make any sense, or if I'm if I'm saying extreme, then please bear with me, because I'm also feeling. So also, when I was listening to him, I was also feeling that I was, back in that place, that psychologically speaking. So military, as a youth, we survived under the military. And there have been atrocities that we have only heard of, like capital punishment. The military is now using it. As that not only the capital punishment, the military also has started executing the democratic actors as well. And that what I have felt, what I'm feeling right now is for me individually, because for that others who have made the ultimate sacrifice, like that today is the anniversary. So I also remind myself of that yesterday. I was also thinking about that as well. That for our brothers and sisters of the revolution, and that I think it was in a newspaper that they and that the way they write it in the news report, the way they with the daily newspaper, that they have executed 4 people. The fact that they had to kill 4 people, like the way they reported the news has been quite traumatic for me. That's not just psychologically, but also physically. For all of us, we don't want to lose a single one of our fellow brothers and sisters of the revolution. That it is when we reflect on that, we can say that that we're lucky that we were in prison. We should have been happy that we were alive and well inside the prison. But what about those like others? I think Xiao Chunji also has said about that as well, that there are also people who were killed in the education centers. There were many of them. So we have seen that happen. I cannot speak out, but it's also happened. Because even when I'm talking about what happened to me, I'm also feeling very selfish, egoist, because other brothers and sisters have also gone through this as well. Some of them were burned alive in the interrogation center. So now that I'm sort of feeling really. So when I was in before I was sent to the the interrogation center in the palace, in the military regiment, and I've seen one of the one of the one of the demonstrators who was peacefully demonstrating. We did a very simple thing, and he was only violated is that he participated in the demonstration. He was burned alive, and then seeing that his ashes, and I have seen that he was burned alive, and they show us the ashes, that they have burned them alive. That we also seen there are also others who were killed in blood. So all these incidents so remind us of what we are fighting for, what we are working on. So to tell the story that I can see, I can feel that what we are seeing, what we're feeling is not just for us, it's not just for me. For us, it's not just it's for the individual as well. Because it's like the expression goes, like if you hurt them, it's like hurting me. Because now people are not just getting hurt, people are sacrificing their lives, and the people are, dying. That there are people who have been who have been physically handicapped, who have been maimed, who have been physically harmed. Their lives has been in danger. That when you are a human being, it doesn't matter how bad you have it. If you're alive, you're still alive, you can still survive. Just the other day, I met one of the other fellow the revolutionary comrades, those who had survived, despite being that he was burned so badly that he doesn't even look like when he was when he was born. And that despite that, they're participating in the revolution strongly. So it's incredible. So what I'm saying is that the worst things that could happen to the detainee is not just inside the prison. Those who have been sentenced to death by the military as well as executed, there are also don't forget that people are being killed outside as well. There are people, the situations that we have never imagined, the atrocities that we couldn't even think of, they are committing them. These violence, and we have to tell these stories. We have to tell what is happening, to the people, and we are not lying. We are not making up. This is not fiction. That we have the evidence. We have we have the emotions, the horrible situations we are living through. There are a lot of that evidence to support that. So that to summarize all these points, that there is only one way out for us. We need to speak up, but speaking up alone is not enough. It is important for us to carry on with the revolution. It is important to ask us a question: how committed you are to the revolution? How much can you contribute to the revolution? Because that's what the sacrifice that people have made. I am a young person that and sometimes I try to find a way out, so that I'm still young. I'm still need to mature, and then sometimes that the way I live or the way I live, sometimes I just want to, when I feel that really bad, I want to have fun. I want to forget everything. I want to find a way to, get to find some outlet. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do. It is important that we need to remain committed to the cause till we reach the end of the road. We need to avenge for all the souls that has been lost, or the harm that we have suffered. We need to remain committed till we reach the end. We need to remain committed. We need to reach the end of the road, and we need to avenge ourselves for the harm that we have suffered. My parents, my parents said something, and that's what my parents said has always kept me up. It doesn't matter how I have been, or that how difficult my journey has been, or how pressured I have been. This is how I live. That is, in a way, that the sayings sort of keep me alive as well. That it is important to finish what you started. Once you started something, finish it. It doesn't matter how hard it is. Once you're there, once you're started, it is important to end it. Don't leave it and finish the journey that you have started, or something, an action you have started. It is important to keep at it until it reaches the end. And that has always kept me up. It doesn't matter how many times I have fallen, I always get up, because I am on this journey. It is important that we keep working together hand in hand, and that keep on fighting. That's the message I would like to give. Other points that if we talk about other things, There are people who will be able to speak them out loud, but for me, physically, whenever I think about it, I just still cannot take it because it is horrible that the lives that we have lost in this revolution is way too many. The amount of our friends and family that people are suffering. That I cannot think about this because as well, because if I think about it, there will only be like dark thoughts, and that there's concerns and worries, and the sadness will not be able to keep the fighting. So it is important to keep ourselves motivated. It's important to keep strong. So there are those comrades that we have lost, who have disappeared, that we have lost touch of them. We don't know where they are. We are worried about them, but we are worried also about the lives that we lost. But that doesn't mean that we can always think about them and be sad. It is important for us to stand strong and to be able to keep fighting, to be able to keep committed to the fight. So if I'm getting too emotional about it, sorry about that, but it's really is stirring things deeply inside me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the discussion. As a person who has lived through the experience, you also have seen also heard from the what happened to the other people, the other people of Myanmar, the population, what they are facing in the hands of the military. So thank you for sharing, and that it has been thank you for sharing, because it is true, you're right, and that it is important that we achieve the goal of the revolution, so that we'll be able to seek justice. We'll be able to find truth to what happened to the people who have disappeared, those whose lives have been lost. And then only when we achieve the revolution that we'll be able to hold the perpetrators accountable for the crimes that they have committed against the people. And that also means that we must, and absolutely must, win this revolution. Thank you for giving the time despite the difficult challenges, and thank you for sharing your experience. Now I would like to invite Siama Ahlali Thuzar, and I would like to ask you this question. That, who do you think is the most responsible for the violence, as well as for the violence and the killings and the torture inside the prison, that, and for the perpetrators, how is it important to hold them accountable with the with the transitional justice, in the period of transition? When we say taking action, there could be many ways. And like Siama Sohanwi has just shared, sometimes there aren't words to describe the horrible atrocities. When you have suffered physically, when you have lived it, because it really is deeply engraved in your mind, in your feelings, and that's something you cannot lift. So what we need to do is that to what extent can we take action against them? To what extent do we need to do that? We want to do it. When to get them to when to take action. The action should be strong. The action should be, going against the perpetrators. When I was in prison, when we're in prison, what we were also hoping for is that the media, we were hoping that there have been a lot of coverage about us being beaten, about being tortured. So we want that kind of reporting. When we are outside, in the reality that a lot of medias have a difficulty, and that they are also sharing the reports as much as possible. But then again, what was happening inside the prison, human rights violations, the torture, the beatings, they cannot cover the news because they don't have access to the information what is happening inside the prison. So when you say justice, to what extent can we seek justice for the victims who suffer, for the survivor who suffer? When you say violations inside the prisons, then the nearest person responsible will be the wardens, or the prison department, and then there are those who give them orders from them as well, and also we also have those who are leading them. So all these people, the chain of command, those who they command, those who carry out the command, those who are physically abusing them, they all must be held accountable for what they're committing. They are committing such acts with intention. They have the intention to carry them out, and they do that as well. And there must be justice. There must be action taken against them for accountability for the crime they committed. Sema Henry, who has just shared that many people were killed, and many people have already been killed. Many people have disappeared at the force as well, and that all what is happening inside the prison many people being killed, the challenge that they are facing right now, it is important that international organizations, I feel the international community is not talking about that. International organization is not helping about that. We need to find ways to get action against such as being committed as well. Right now, I'm doing what I can that and I'm also collecting information as much as possible that as well. I'm doing that as in the same way. I think that it is also I would like to recommend other people also to contribute, just like the expression go that what I'm calling it maybe just mere raindrops, but the raindrops, when we collect them together, then they could become oceans. So in the same way, I think it is important for all of people to remind ourselves of the atrocity of the military and find ways how you can contribute to the revolution. It could be as small as the raindrops, but when we put all our hands together, I have been released from the prison, but I'm still suffering from it as well. I cannot sleep at night. I'm still I have difficulty. So I have to find a way to say I must work hard tomorrow for the revolution, and this way I need my sleep so that I can rest, so that I can walk. So I think this is something we all need to do. We all need to contribute. I want to do things effectively. I think it is also important for us to be able to, document the violation and also to be able to take action against them.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါဆရာမရေပေါ့ဆရာမဆွေးနွေးတော့မှာဆိုရင်တော့အဓိကဘောနော်ဒါဘယ်လိုပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်ပြည်သူတွေနေရာနဲ့လဲဒါဝိုင်းဝန်းပြီးတော့ဒီလိုအချက်လက်တွေကိုဒါစုစည်းထား
Right now, everybody, all the public needs to collect this information, and then it's not only the perpetrator, but people who committed it themselves, and then people who need to be accountable for this. Like, we need to take actions on that. Thank you very much. And then right now, I would like to what I would like to ask is that right now, so human rights violation in the detention center and in the prisons, like in the international community, how things can be kind of like taken into action. So right now, up to now, inside the prisons, and then so this SEC terrorists, so they are committing war crimes and all human crimes against humanity. So starting from Daewoo prison, Dayawadi insane. So like in the transfer, so there are around like 30, 40 people being killed without any concrete reasons, and they are killed. There was massacre, 8 people. We only know that this is like according to the AAPP references, and then this is like what, but then actually it was more than that, and there were like more than like 14 people. Family members were sent letters and then informed, and then this was how did it happen, and then what happened, like so whether the sons or the husband, they wanted to see, like the bodies were destroyed, so they have committed such crime, and then until now they are still not punished. And then the international community has so far just issued statement and just saying that they are concerned, they are worried, and they are sad. It is not just enough. And then we will not be giving you any credits on the words. We will be looking at the actions. And where is the accountability? And then what is every one of us has the responsibility in order to get justice. So things are getting worse and worse, and we need to stop this. we need to kind of like stop this military dictatorship because they have got the license to kill, and then they are using people, and they have got the license to kill, the license to torture. And then what is worse in the prison is that, so right now they have Zoe, who are the prisoners uh, or supervisor. They have collected these people, and then in their words, they are telling like the prisoner supervisor, they have breeding them well, and then they are their dogs. Rudely speaking, what the political prisoners are doing, like they kind of like get the informant and then send in the information like who has to transfer to another prison, who has to be tortured, even worse. And then they are systematically doing that in order to suppress the political prisoners. They continue to do this systematically, starting from 1962 up to now, the revolution generation. So they wanted to stop this revolution generation, but now it's being kind of like continuing, and then right now we have like, and they will be using fear and weapons, and they will kill, and then people will be fear and they will kneel down. This is what they are thinking. But then the political prisoners always think and see as enemies, and then the political prisoners until now, so they should be able to imprison the political prisoners. They would be able to kill the political prisoners, but they will not be able to kill our mindset that we will go against their mentality. And I can kind of confirm this. With regards to international community, the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, they were only able to come then only when allowed, and then when they are asked to leave, they have to go back. So the pressure, we don't see they were able to make any kind of pressure or take any concrete action. In our time, the media was very much weakened. Like, for example, in the central place of Myanmar, and then right now in Daewoo and Tangu prison. So prison staff who are helping us kind of like suffer the sanction. The prison superintendent and more than 10 staff members in Mianjin, they were also being put in prison as well. This was the worst as well. But then right now, so this is the last fighting. So traditional, just and this is the SAC that we need to take action. And therefore, when we are talking about the international community, so they are just being silent when we talked about international community. So in the United Nations and then is specialized agency in so the media have done their job as much as they could. Medias are put into prison. So it's the same. The medias are being sanctioned as well. Right now, so it's not the civil war. It is our war, and then so it is a concern of the international security. I am not talking about this with my own feeling, but then I was talking about it because of the needs. And then the SAC will never leave like this. They all prepare. International community, we are expecting you as well. And so it is important that the needs of the people, what the people want, needs to be respected by the international community as well. For example, MOHR. What I would like to say is that political prisoners have to do work every day, has been tortured, has been put into hard condition, has been killed inside prison. They are being tortured in different ways, and then they are being transferred and were shot dead on the way. So the NUG government, Ministry of Human Rights, for the international community to focus this and to know about this, and then within the country, this kind of torture, this kind of human rights violations are to be taken in charge. The NUG needs to do more, and it is kind of like need to work on this. So there is impunity there that the SAC is enjoying, and therefore we need to have practical sanctions on them. Without doing that, they will continue to get worsened and continue their torture, continue their inhuman practices, and continue this torture. Will continue to kill people indiscriminately. The ICRC cannot do anything. The ICRC effectively cannot force people. And then NUG, what I am we are the citizens, and for the future we are there are like the daughters and sons of the future being killed. We cannot be looking like this. We will have to speak out at the media, and then the international community needs to listen to that, and there should be transitional justice on that. And then if it is kind of like used to this kind of terrorists are enjoying the impunity, then they are having the license to kill, license to torture, and they will continue to commit these crimes. And so because there is no sanction on them, every day we will be encountering more and more of these criminals. I am responsible for that. And then if you are concerned, and then we have also IIM, and then they are collecting the information. This mechanism just only not taking this information and just don't leave it like that, and then this kind of terrorist actions will increase anyway if you leave it like this. And therefore, so for the prisons, and then I am concerned about the welfare of the prisoners inside the prison. So the NUG, MOHR, to expedite their action in order to take sanctions on the SAC and its terrorist organizations, then we will be able to do this. And therefore, I will just stop my discussion here. Thanks a lot. So thank you very much for talking about it. And then in transitional justice period, how information should be taken, what kind of sanction to be coordinated constructively. I have received it. Thank you very much. And then in chat as well, we have the comment, and then so we can assume that to what extent you have suffered, and I have seen it in the chat room. And then right now, for saying this for those who cannot voice themselves, and so there is like one person who would like to discuss as well. So can you please go, Thuzar, please go ahead.
Odessa, you raised your hand earlier that if you want to participate in the discussion, we can give you the time now. Odessa, you want to share or ask questions? Okay, so, and we also have received a few questions in that as well, so that so when we listen to you, and we can feel that how much you have gone through as well, and that is we respect you for the journey you have gone through as well, and that and also that we feel you and we like you, the fact that you share deeply as well, and that you always encourage support others, so please also support others from the community too. So thank you for the comments, so that we have received a lot of comments supporting our speakers as well as on the encouragement as well. And that one of the participants also has said that I really like what Xiao Guotunqi has shared and support it. Also, please also share more as well. So on the Facebook Live page as well. So there is one comment that said that that it is also partly our fault, because we have tried to we try to forgive the military, and that this is time for us to eradicate the military this time once and for all. So these are very encouraging comments that that it is important to eradicate the dictatorship. The military dictatorship is a system as well, that we cannot let the system happen again. There are other situations which had enabled the military, so that we are facing this kind of situation as well. So thank you. I don't think so I think because of the internet situation, Kodesa, who already had to raise his hand, was not able to join. So I would like to invite our speakers also to share as well. That first of all, I would like to invite Xiao Tunqi to give closing remarks. Thank you. Thank you for the support. That and then I myself also have gone through. I have nearly spent a decade, nearly 10 years in prison, as well as, and then I also have spent quite a bit of difficult times at that time. Those days that media was also very weak. Media was oppressed, so that media cannot report. When things are happening in Myanmar, which is in Upper Myanmar, what things happening in Myanmar prison is cannot be shared. That not a lot of people will not be able. That media was not covered, and that we're not able to share that as with the people as well. And then maybe we are also responsible because we are not able to share when we're released from the prison, and we just want to. It's sort of like we have been released from from the ghettos, or the like the like the Auschwitz, that prisons of the Jew people, we were in the most horrible situation than the way the Nazi had treated the Jew. We didn't get any kind of medical care. We had faced a lot of physical challenges, and that we barely survived. So when we were released from the prison, we had to spend quite a little time to recover ourselves physically as well. That back in the days, our society also are afraid to talk to us as a former political prisoner. I'm still hearing that as well. When they talk to political prisoner, they are in fear that they might be accused by the military, they might be arrested by the military. Back in the days, we were under the reign of the influence of the military intelligence. Military intelligence will be undercover, so that the way they have push people to instill under the fear. So people are even afraid. The society is even afraid to talk to or to engage with the political prisoner, because they have instilled fear to control the people. So we feel bad. We do not get angry, but we are very sad. We are sad that people are afraid to talk to us, and we have suffered so much trauma, both physical and psychological, that we have to recuperate ourselves. We have to rehabilitate our body. Once we're released from the Myanmar prison, that on the train for our release, there had been people, that who has been there had been people who have helped us to welcome us on the train when we came back to us. These are student activists, and they were for political prisoners. So we need to help them. So there were people who gave us money. There were some people who would give us food, as well. So that on my way back from Myanmar to Yangon, where there are people we don't know who have been always willing to help us or feed us or give money to us, because we didn't get enough food, and we were sort of in the prison. You were pushed into eating a small amount of food. You're not even allowed to able to go to toilet, because you have to get rid of your owner that discharge. So in other words, so that we were not able to eat much at all. That in other words, we were great suffering, but there were people who were helpful. So it has been incredible. And I understand the points that you were raising, because it is important to share, because people have the right to know about how horrible the situation has been as well. That it is also that when it comes to brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters, the fellow democratic actors, we have gone through the first, and we know what they are going through right now inside the prison or interrogation center. From the day from the morning till night, all the political prisoners, as former political prisoners, I know how horrible the situation is inside the prison, but they cannot break our spirit. They may be able to imprison us physically, but they cannot break our mindset. They cannot break our commitment to the revolution, to the democracy. It is important for all of us that we have the common enemy, we have the common goal. I think with sharing the same goal and sharing the same common enemy, it is important for us to fight together, because the revolution that we are in is the ultimate fight, ultimate battle for freedom of people. And we have an incredible diversity among the population who is supporting this revolution. That people are coming across different different backgrounds, so different religions, different ethnicities. I think it is important for the revolutionary leaders and there's a revolutionary front lines need to work together in solidarity to achieve the ultimate goal, to eradicate the military dictatorship, to end the system, so that it is important for our leaders to stand together, work together in this fight for the ultimate battle for the freedom of the people. It is important to please think about the greater good of the people and find ways to get together, to work together in solidarity and in this fight, and that so that we can win this revolution together. And that's the message I want to give. So that's how I would like to wrap up. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Sia, for very comprehensive, that wrap up. Thank you for your remarks. That we also have an audience, one of the participants who have raised their hand. So I would like to give the chance to participate. So we see your hand raised for Huawei Y9 2019. You have the floor. Can you hear me? Yes, my internet is really bad. Yes, we can hear you. Please discuss. I was listening to the points about the oppression against the political prisoners. That's Htun. I think it's as in the news that we know that the prisoners are facing many forms of oppression, and they are not new since 1980, this is 62 and then Nway, and then in 82, and then 2021, 22. They have continued to but I think it is also important for the revolutionary fighters that maybe we are missing something. We are not thinking that how do we stop that? What do we do? How do we protect our political prisoners? How do we protect activists? I think we need to think about find ways we can protect them as well. And that when we walk in the revolution, when we contribute in the revolution, it is also important to remind ourselves that that these political prisoners could easily end up as human shields. My son is one of the political prisoners, and he could be used as a human shield in battle. And that's something always in my mind. This military is true. It has lost humanity. They will do whatever they want. They are desperate, and that after the coup, the way they had, they always have. Exploit the people. When the military colors are deployed, they would shell the villages. There are even if this village has no activities, no democratic actors, they will just fire upon people. They will just shell people at random. So I think it is important for the revolutionary fighters to be better about it. I hope that some of the NUG leadership will also be able to hear the message. So it is important. So whenever revolutionary forces are trying to capture the towns or city, we should also need to think about how they can help the political prisoners that the military has detained. We seem to have a technical problem. We cannot hear the speaker anymore. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you now, but so where was I? That so you were asking about that the revolutionary forces should think about how to support, how to help the political prisoners. Yes, that's what I was talking about. So I'm thinking that from military's perspective, it is also important not about capturing towns or city. What about the political prisoners? We need to think about helping the political prisoners so that they will not be abused by the military as human shield. Because if you are waging, they would be used as human shield by the military. They will use them because they are inside the prison. So we need to think about that, how to overcome that challenge that what the military is using political prisoners as human shield. I think it is important for the Ministry of Defense to think about ways to not to help protect the political prisoners. So that's what I would like to say. Another thing is that it is also important. I'm sorry, but the interpreter cannot hear the speaker due to the internet connection. So the moderator has taken it up. So it is important to think about ways to how to protect from how to protect that the fact that the military could use the political prisoners as human shield. So I'm sorry, but that your internet connectivity is really difficult, making it choppy around here. So I think I got your right. I get your point. It is important to think about protecting the political prisoners because military could use them as a human shield. So thank you for raising the important security point, and that is not new. And we have heard about the similar stories back in the days as well. Back in 1980s or the 1990s also, we have also learned about that time when the prisoners were taken to the front lines and then used as porters or then the different ways as well, different to as well. That it is important that whenever there are like a major battles going on, that if they need it with a more front lines being where is a war being waged, that they could turn to political prisoners or the prisoners as a way to they fill their ranks. So thank you for raising a very important point. Thank you. So we'd like to continue with the discussion, and that so as for the wrap up, I would like to invite Siamaso and Nway to give closing remarks. Anything you want to share with us? Thank you. So I think today's talk show has been incredible in some sense. That I think we also get a chance to share about our feelings and our emotions. So I feel also kind of relieved as well. That what I would like to share is that right now, and I'm also want to say sorry and thank you for understanding that I was getting emotional. That also, I don't want you to feel bad about it as well. I don't really get very emotional like that these days in the public. I don't really, I don't really, break into tears like that. But this time it was this time I was also because of emotion as well. But I'm also that like I said before, what we have, the suffering we took is not just individually, because it's not only about our own suffering. We also feel that indignation for the others as well. And this is our history. And it is important for us to keep on writing our history until the end. That for me here, I would like to say that something to the fellow brothers and sisters, as well as on the peoples of revolution. It is important to stand strong, stay strong, stay strong. We need to stay strong psychologically. We need to stay strong physically. We must be able to, overcome the challenges, because we are facing the dark times and challenges. And then think whenever we are young, whenever we want to do something, it could be a hobby, it could be something we want to create. We feel that I can do it. I can do it. That's the mindset we have as well. I think when you have, that's like the expression goes, there is a word, there is a will, that if you are not a lazy person, if you are committed to what you want, then you'll be able to, remind ourselves to try hard and to be able to achieve the goal as well. That, for example, like in a different communities, people know that as well, and that that you come from a different community, you don't have an easy life, you don't have it easy like the other people, and that that you have to struggle to achieve whatever you desire. In the same way, for this revolution, I would like to say the same thing as well. No success can be easily achieved as well, and that the truth that we are fighting for, that the truth that we are trying to seek, and that all the efforts we make are being, the military is, trying to destroy our achievement as well, and that we know that how bad the situation can be, and that it is important to use that to use all the hardships and challenges into energy, so that it will sustain us in the long fight as well. And that and also that I think, and what I would give my message to their fellow brothers and sisters of the revolution is to keep yourself strong, and then just be that just get back on your feet and then think about survival, think about overcoming the challenges and remain committed to the cause as well. But we give this words because we are also the one paying, because we are not perfect, and that no, you should do like this and we are doing like this. No, I'm not perfect, and then that all of us are struggling. All of us are struggling to remain committed. But whatever we are or whatever we are doing, I think it is important to fulfill our role, fulfill our responsibility. It is important to support each other as well. That so now that the revolution has taken longer, people are facing even more challenges, difficulty to survive, and all these all these are challenges. It is important to try to be more understanding towards each other, and then also to help each other, so that we can also we can help each other to achieve as well. I of course all of us feel when we think about the trauma, when we think about what we are facing, the atrocities, like we are also that sometimes we feel that we don't feel we don't feel motivated, and there are times where you will feel discouraged, and then you will also feel depressed, or you also feel sad, that sometimes you just want to disappear, you just want to just to end your life. And it is important to find ways to recharge yourself, to find energy, so that we can all work together to achieve the goal that we all want. That's how I would like to encourage you. Stay strong. You can get back on your feet. Thank you for for your contribution, sharing your own examples, and that you have been you have the courage to share what happened to you. So thank you very much for your sharing. So I would like to ask our last speaker, Siama Lale Thuzar. Siama, anything you want to say to wrap up today's discussion? Thank you. So as to wrap up, I am one of the people as well that as a people of Myanmar, the challenge that we are facing is a major challenge for all of us. Another point I would like to say that what has the military has been doing? Military has been trying to instill fear in our side, and we need to change that fear into that bravery, into a courage that will give us a way forward. That will also show us how you can contribute to the revolution. Because I am afraid, I am very scared. Because every time when I'm thinking about, I'm scared, and then if I scared about it, I got a panic attack. My heart just started beating. That my brain started shutting down when I say that, yes, they say there is fear, but I will handle the fear. I will face this fear. I am facing the fear. And by thinking like that my brain started to, calm down. I was able to think about it. I was beaten in the interrogation center, and I just have one thought in mind: I will survive. And that I will survive. I spent a month in the interrogation center. When I was released from interrogation, I was so happy. It was the day when they released me from interrogation. It was the day I was on my happiest day in my life. So sometimes we are going through the darkest days of our lives. It is important to stay strong, and it is important to support each other. We have to support ourselves. We need the support from our families or the friends. We need the support from the fellow prisoners who are still alive as well. So I think it is important to to support the people, that you have each other, to support each other, so that they can overcome the challenges. We need a support system because we are all facing so many challenges in different ways. So I think we need this. We need the loving kindness. We need the understanding. We need the support from the other people. So don't give up. There are many things that we can do. There are different ways that you can contribute. As a journalist, what I also like to say something, I think it is important. People are afraid, and I understand that, and that we also are afraid that so it is. If people are afraid, the media will be silent as well. Only when the people have the courage to speak out and speak up and show up, that will be able to describe you and portray you and illustrate you. If you talk to the media, that the media will be able to do more about it as well. If you talk to the media, there are a lot of media who works the right way to ensure there is safety for the people. The media will take the measures to support the people, to protect the people. You can talk to the media, you can inform the media. They will take care of your security, and there are many civil society organization and media as well, and there are also there are also a lot of organizations which are that are collecting information about the human rights violation. There are so many medias also doing that as well. That this way that we hope that we are collecting this data so that we'll be able to hold them accountable for the crimes that they committed. So we need you to just bear with us and wait, and then stay strong and survive so that we can bring them to account. That's what all these human rights violations has been have been collected for and archived for. So please stay with us and stay strong. Thank you for sharing, as well as that in addition that you also share about that your opinion as a journalist. So thank you for that. So I'd like to say thank you to our speakers. We also like to thank our audience who are following us from the Facebook Live, as well as those who are also participating and joining directly in the webinar. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support messages of solidarity. We'd like to thank you on behalf of the People's Code team as well. We also like to wish a safe return and the safe release of all the political prisoners who are suffering across the country right now, today and today and this time. I would like to say thank you to all of you for supporting us. See you next week. The revolution shall prevail.